Hey, all Chris Mystery cleaning wins on the File Coast. So I wanted to put a video up today about public image and your reputation. Okay, running a business, even conducting yourself in public, is helps build your reputation. The better your reputation, the easier a time you're going to have if any problems arise. So I recently gave I was asked to go and give a quote to a lady, and I've turned up at the house, and it's on the outskirts of Blackpool, quite close to the centre, within walking distance to the centre. There's only one problem: there is no parking in the area. Either it's permit parking, in which case you get a fine, and I have been fined in the past, which is naughty, naughty. We shouldn't be doing that, but I have been fined in the past for trying to sort of cut corners and stuff like that. And on the other side of the other areas where you can park are out of distance from the house you're trying to access. So it can be a bit of an arse ache, to be honest with you. So I turned up and I said, look, I'm really sorry, my love. It's not, it's, the parking's a bit of a nightmare. The fact that I've got to do the front, unload the vehicle, do the front of your house, pack the vehicle up, drive around the back of your house, and ultimately do your windows again, unload and all that sort of stuff. The fact that I have to go through that, and is a bit off putting, to be honest with you. And in addition to that, we are not we are busy on that day. We're only in that area a couple of days a month, you see. So ultimately, it was a situation whereby I couldn't really justify spending that much time on a job that wasn't going to yield that kind of a decent amount of money. So what to do? So I had a bit of a think, and I thought to myself, right, I said to the lady, I can't, it's not for me. I can't park here, but I do know a lad that operates off ladders and carries the ladders around. So parking isn't really an issue for him. And I asked if it was okay if I recommend this young lad, sort of thing. So I had a bit of a chat with this other young lad who I've known for a couple of years. He's a decent bloke, and he just does. He's happy to just plod around with his ladders and get through what he can get through in an 8 hour day. Nothing wrong with it. We've all been there. We've all done that. Generally, but it was just one of those. He's just happy being a one-man band with his ladder. Not beholden to anybody. Happy days. And just cracks on. So I had a chat with this young lad, and I offered him the job. I offered him the work, and said, "Look, I've quoted this. I've been asked to come and quote this job. It's not for me. Explain the issues with parking and all this sort of stuff. Would you be interested? Have you got space on your rota for it?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, happy with that. No dramas. If you give my number to the lady, and if she calls me, I'll certainly I'll fit her in." So I was spotty dog. I'm happy with that. So I spoke to the customer, handed over this young lad's number, and winner winner chicken dinner. He took the job on, and he's now happy. Now, I could quite easily have walked away, dropped and just said, "No, not my circus, not my monkeys," and just walk off. Be well within my rights. But ultimately, the way I see it, and call me old fashioned, but if you can help someone, try and help someone. And ultimately, this guy could benefit from the work, and the lady wanted the windows doing, and I didn't want the work. So ultimately, I could have walked away, and she'd have just gone, "Oh, that's a waste of time," and I left her with a negative impact. Now, my mission, if you like, is to leave a positive impact where I can. That's not to say that I'm a doormat. There is a limit, but I'll try and help people who ultimately I want to help. And if you're being straight up and honest with me, I'll be straight up and honest with you. If you start treating me like a doormat, it'll be the shortest conversation you've ever had. So ultimately, it's just a case of trying to leave as positive an impact, if you like, as I can. This young lad gets to work. She gets the windows done. She thinks well of this young lad for taking the work on. She also thinks well of me, because ultimately, I've helped her out. And people will say, "Oh, why'd you do that?" and all that sort of stuff. You're not going to see that lady again. And ultimately, you're right. But I have had it in the past where I have not been able to do a house, and the lady or the customer, shall we say, that's asked for the quote has moved house to an area that's more accessible, where I'm not so bogged down and busy in that one area, and remembered the fact that I was the guy that sort of referred the work on and helped the customer out. Sorry about that. One of the lads rung me. It was on the ground, so I thought I'd better answer it. Yeah. So as I was saying, is ultimately that the lady who I couldn't actually help out at the time because we were too busy in that area and the access wasn't great. In a separate incident, she moved house to an area where I wasn't so busy, I wasn't so bogged down, and ultimately she remembered the fact that ultimately I did help her out. I didn't have to refer someone else on, but I did. The other young lad who I'd referred the work on to, I say young lad, he was, in this incident, he was a bit older. He decided he was going to retire and he was out of the game, so he wasn't prepared to take any more customers on. That was him done. So ultimately, she remembered that positive interaction that I had with her, and ultimately decided to take me on in the long run. So it's not so much karma, but it's closely related, if you like. I think, at least, is that if you treat people with a bit of respect, a bit of care, and a bit of courtesy, and then ultimately down the line, they'll remember. And or maybe they will, maybe they won't. But ultimately, the ball, you've done what you can to be a decent human being, and that's that. So yeah, I just I always endeavour to try and leave the interaction in as best a light as possible, and ultimately, that can only ever be a positive for you. So yeah, as usual, like, share, subscribe, and any questions, comments, remarks, general jibes, send them my way to the email in the description. Have a great day, peeps. I'm off to the pub. All the very best. Bye now.